Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Simon here with another episode of The Bad Batch Season 2 as we move on to the second half of the season. Just the one episode this week, unfortunately. The double header that we got last week was a one-off. But man, what a set of episodes to put back to back. You know, I think those two were my favourite episodes so far of this show. Coming very close to, the Camino Lost episode. It was, I just love all that intrigue. It felt like, in the same style that Andor was, it felt very much like, getting deep into the heart of what the Empire is really doing, seeing some of the background workings of, the Senate. And seeing Palpatine again, and Coruscant is just, it's a great place to be for Star Wars. So I massively enjoyed last week's episode, and from what I've seen, everyone else did too. But we are now in the second half of the season. We did lose Echo, which was a surprise and a shame. Hopefully it's not going to be a permanent thing. Hopefully he will rejoin the Bad Batch at some point, because I felt like he was fitting in really well. And, in the earlier part of the season, we were getting some, nice, focused episodes on both him and Tech, which, we hadn't really done last season. Last season focused a lot on, Hunter, Omega, and Wrecker to an extent, and obviously Crosshair as well. And Tech and Echo were kind of left to be, sidekicks almost. But, we've had some really nice focused episodes on them so far, so it is a bit of a disappointment to see, Echo kind of depart. And hopefully it doesn't mean that, his fate is a kind of... I feel like, he's with Rex, but then he's not with Rex in a few years, so it's like either he rejoins the Bad Batch or something goes really wrong. Because, I don't foresee him retiring to normal life. Guy with a droid thing on his arm, not quite gonna, be able to settle down in a cozy cottage and not draw a few eyeballs, But, it'll be interesting to see how that changes the dynamic of the group. And, I think certainly now with the clones themselves seemingly on the out, Palpatine very cleverly using the whole situation to his advantage, always having that backup plan, always being a step ahead. I think now is where we start to see, the echoes of a clone civil war potentially, or at least a little rebellion. I don't foresee it being a full fledged war, because obviously there's a civil war yet to come. But whether there's a suppressed uprising within the clones would be another matter. And, how Crosshair takes to that, because he's very much pro-fascist right now. But, if that fascist state really starts to turn against his kind, who knows, it might just change his opinion. So, anyway, we're going to jump in. So, let's see what happens in this episode. I like the music, very Western. Which is what Star Wars has always really been. A space Western. That definitely stands out. Oh, hold on. It's in German. Why is it in German? There we go. Why? Why Disney? Uh-oh. Dust storm.
I'll be the lookout.
Not alone.
Oh, come on, she can do it.
About poachers in the area. Keep your eyes peeled and call us if you see anyone.
Gotta be more trusting, Hunter.
The mineral is far too unstable. Even the slightest friction around it can cause a destructive chain reaction.
What the hell kind of mine is... How do you mine it then? That's the whole point of mining.
On my way.
Yes, send the child to do the mining. The Bad Batch encourages child labour.
Chain reaction explosion. Got it.
You will be incinerated.
Be very careful.
Oh, it's a liquid. That's probably something they mentioned when I was listening to it in German. I thought it was a rock.
Good. Okay.
Good. Oh, they're going to steal the ship.
That storm's changing course.
Are they stowing
Other planets on
away,
this planet are most irregular.
maybe, on the
We
ship?
have what we came for.
Nope.
What is it, Hunter?
They're stealing it.
That sounds like a
Seriously, you don't have the ship locked down?
During our approach, I scanned a spaceport approximately 40 clicks south of here. Perhaps
40
we can acquire
clicks.
transport there.
You know how long that would take?
You'd have had one more person, they could have stayed on the ship. You know?
Havoc 5. Do you copy? Echo?
Trying to get in touch with Echo.
He's too long range. Echo won't pick up our signal.
Especially since he disabled his communication device.
What?
What?
Why?
Why?
I assume he's
I read
on
the
a
script.
sensitive mission.
Oh! Oh, no. They're deer. Some kind of deer. Oof, uh-oh. What about...
Protect the Ipsium case! I would advise not dropping it next time.
What are you carrying?
Tech is being really cheeky this episode.
That would certainly explain the stampede.
In today's episode of What Else Can Go Wrong for the Bad Batch...
There is another mine! 30 meters ahead!
I see it!
That's lucky. That's definitely going to explode. And cave in. Like, have these guys ever pulled off a successful mission for Sid? It feels like every mission they go on just goes tits up.
Quite correct. Besides, it is most unlikely that the Marauder will be recovered.
What?
Yeah.
Don't say that. We have to get it back.
We can always acquire another ship. It is
Yeah,
only a
but
mode
not
of transportation.
a ship like
Marauder's
that.
our home. We already lost Echo. We're supposed to be a squad.
This squad existed before Echo was a part of it, and it will exist.
That's
after.
true.
What is your issue?
Ooh. Tech is being, like, really, like, pointed today. Like, what's your
I want
deal?
you to be alone.
Maybe don't turn that light off. Ooh. Is it mithril?
I will search for any potential extractions within this mine.
That's not the only mistake you need to fix.
Mm-hmm.
Go check on the kid.
But she said she wanted to be alone.
Thought we could use this to blow our way through the cave in.
I came to a similar conclusion.
And then maybe take more?
Little help? How many are left?
This is the last one.
Oh dear. Something is gonna go wrong on that last one. Oh.
Take.
See?
Hang on. Omega!
And she's dead. And then they were free. Oh, okay. Ooh, I like that. That's a pretty... That's a pretty little cavern. Look at the glow.
That is a good question. Stand by.
Guessing that's more of the... Is it iridium, did they call it? I don't think Rekka's going to enjoy the prospect of jumping down that shaft.
All right, Tech.
You will come upon us once the rapids eject you over the waterfall. But you must not compromise your lives.
This is Rekka's worst nightmare.
Gotta be kidding me.
About change. It is a fundamental part of life.
Echo left. Why doesn't that bother you?
Oh dear. She's like a kid with divorced
Well,
parents,
if you miss him,
trying to come to terms.
to adapt and move on.
Aren't we?
Well,
It's like the older brother trying to explain why dad went for cigarettes and never came back, you know?
Then why don't you act like it?
Cuz I'm an emotionless automaton.
but it does not mean that I feel any less than you.
There he is. That was a noticeably smaller explosion, despite it being purer.
Let's check it out.
I just get this feeling the Marauder is going to be there or is going to arrive there at any moment.
I can send out a long-range transmission with that array.
Okay, but why was it abandoned?
Said we need your help.
Just like we helped you
See?
regain control of your parlor from Roland Durant.
They,
And when we cleared your
I'm going to
site
start
of
learning that
theft,
Sid is not interested in them.
Don't have enough rations to last a few.
She does not care.
Now.
We'll figure it out.
Do. Damn, this planet's really got it in for them, hasn't it? Yeah, so the Bad Batch are in a bit of a pickle. This planet really has it out for them. Like, whether it's storms, herds of, trampling deer, or, just generally nasty fiefs. It's not a nice place to be. And, I'm quite honestly surprised they did not have more security lockdowns on the Marauder. Because, although I suppose that thief could have been, a very capable hacker, it didn't seem like it was too difficult for them to break in and steal the ship, and that's always something I've always thought about, because they've never really, overly protected the Marauder. It's always kind of just left there, sometimes with the door wide open, with no one watching it. And so I've always sat there and thought someone could just walk up and take that, and it's never happened, other than the time when it was intentionally done in the second episode of season 1 by the Empire. It's never really, happened to them until now, which came at a really bad time. But, you can see what the purpose of this episode was. It was one of those, episodes that, has a deeper meaning behind it. It's there to help make you understand that change is a part of life, and that we have to accept that and move on and deal with it as human beings, Obviously this change is quite sudden, and I think it's almost speaking to the audience like, hey, change happens. We're no longer in, periods where, there might be the golden era, no longer the Luke Skywalker era or something like that. I don't know, for me it just kind of feels like that's what they're trying to portray to everyone. It's like, you've got to learn to move on with your life and get past the fact that things are not the way they used to be, which is fine. I said in the episode that it felt very much like Omega was trying to come to terms with a divorced set of parents, or a dad who's run away, and Tech was like an older brother who was trying to explain to her that this is just the way life is. Oh, you know what? Zuko's not made an appearance so far, and I was starting to wonder what happened to him. But yeah, you don't miss the camera, do you, buddy? You're a bit late this week, but better late than never, as they say. So, again, it's going to be interesting to see where this picks up next week, but you can see the clues that they're starting to lay down for us, with Sid especially. I think the group are going to start being even more aware that Sid is not someone who overly cares for them, even if they've helped her out immensely in the past. They basically saved her ass in that racing episode, and she does not seem overly grateful. I mean, granted, every single mission she seems to have sent them on has gone tits up. I can't remember a mission that's been successful. And technically, yes, so far, this mission has met its objectives. They got the mineral, even if it wasn't the original, mineral that they had. And they've probably got a lot more than, they expected. But still, there's these problems that they're coming into, and they still haven't delivered it, so there's still no guarantee that they will get the mineral back to Sid. But I think the time is coming where they're going to end up breaking away from Sid, whether amicably or by force. That is going to happen, I think, and it's probably going to coincide with Crosshair being forced out of the Empire. Again, whether that's on his own volition or forcefully, who knows? Because now that Rampart's gone, he doesn't have that layer of protection. Even though Rampart was a dick to him, he still wants him as a commander. So what happens with Crosshair is going to be an interesting thing now. But yeah, it feels like we're getting really thin on the ground. Obviously the Bad Batch originally started with the 5 members. Then they lost Crosshair after gaining Echo, so they were still at 5 members. And then they've lost Echo, so they're now down to 4 members. But for me, it's still kind of like, Omega isn't a fully fledged member, so it's kind of like 3 members and the kid. It's like three and a half, 3.5 men? And well, I'm saying that, isn't it? Yeah, Omega isn't a man, so 3 men and a half woman. I don't know. Something along those lines. But she's clearly still got a lot of growing to do. And although, yes, she is a full-fledged member of the Bad Batch, I'm aware of that, it just feels strange seeing the 3 adult members when there used to be 5, But, yeah, a good episode. I love the Western theme. The soundtrack, the visuals, that felt really kind of, old school in a way. And, it took me back to kind of like when I used to go to my nan's and she'd have all of the old Western programs on the TV. It was a kind of throwback to all that. And I know that Dave Filoni likes those kinds of themes. Star Wars has always been a Western in space, so again, I think it was a good setting. Yeah, the old kind of like mine in the caverns. The abandoned towns, the storms. It's very traditional in that sense. But I enjoyed this. I hope you did too. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll be back next week.